During their heyday in the 80s, Mötley Crüe were known for their wild and hard partying lifestyle as much as their music. One of their songs was actually based on a real-life incident where Nikki Sixx instigated a brawl in a biker bar. Little did he know, the bikers were hiding a secret. According to their 2001 autobiography, Mötley Crüe are the most notorious band in the world. From headlining world tours and #1 albums to substance abuse problems and run-ins with the law, Mötley Crüe are true rock and roll rebels. Guitarist Greg Leon and drummer Tommy Lee formed the beginnings of what would become Mötley Crüe in 1981. Leon had once played with metal bands Quiet Riot and Dokken, but now the pair wanted to start something new. When Leon and Lee attended a final show by the Hollywood band London, things started to fall into place. At the show, Lee saw something special in the bass player up on stage. He suggested to Leon that the bassist Nikki Sixx would make a perfect addition to their new lineup. But Greg Leon didn't agree. Nikki Sixx auditioned for the new band twice, but didn't pass muster either time. Greg Leon agreed that Sixx had a unique look, but noted that he couldn't play bass at all. Regardless, Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx became friends and started working on music together. Leon, in protest, quit the band. But this didn't deter the other two. They discovered lead guitarist Mick Mars after seeing an ad he placed in the Recycler that read, "Loud, rude and aggressive guitar player available." All they needed now was a frontman. While the band searched for a lead singer, Tommy Lee attended a concert by a band called Rock Candy. The band's lead singer was Vince Neil. Lee and Neil knew each other from high school and had even played in some bands together already. Lee thought that Neil would be a perfect fit for his new band. With the lineup of Sixx, Mars, Neil and Lee, the band was ready to get out in front of an audience. The Starwood nightclub was the site of the Crüe's first gig, though they didn't even have a name at the time. But on April 24th, 1981, the story of the most notorious band in the world began. One of Mick Mars's former bands, Whitehorse, had played a show years before, and someone had described the group as a motley-looking crew. Mars jotted the term down, and as he and the other band members were pitching names, he suggested Mötley Crüe. Then they added a bunch of umlauts inspired by Lowenbrau, the beer they were drinking at the time. Now it was time to record some music. Their first single, Stick to Your Guns, came out on their own label, followed by their debut album, Too Fast for Love. The US Festival was a music and culture festival held in California in the early 1980s. Mötley Crüe played there after a brief and infamous Canadian tour and began gaining popularity in their home country. With the new music channel MTV on the rise and fresh from their success at US Festival, it was time for the band to return to the studio. Draped in satanic imagery, Crüe's second album, Shout at the Devil, immediately garnered controversy around the band. But given how the members of the band envisioned themselves as rock and roll rebels, controversy was just another name for publicity. Despite their critics, their sound clicked with heavy metal fans, as well as with one of the godfathers of metal, who would help them along in their burgeoning career. Heavy metal can trace its early history back to the sounds of Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath. By the 80s, Osbourne had embarked on a solo career, and he tapped Mötley Crüe as an opening act for his 1984 Bark at the Moon tour. The tour gave the band members their fair share of time to embrace the more sordid parts of the rock lifestyle. 1985's Theatre of Pain saw the band embracing glam metal, a style of heavy metal characterised by flamboyant costumes and makeup. Both Theatre and Shout at the Devil were eventually certified quadruple platinum. Mötley Crüe were a genuine success, and more success meant more scandals. It's no surprise that drugs and rock music go hand in hand, and Nikki Sixx was dealing with a growing addiction problem. All of the band members were struggling with the excesses of the rock star life, but it was he who came closest to a premature end. Addiction took a huge toll on the bass player, resulting in 2 overdoses in 1986 and 1987. The second required 2 shots of adrenaline to restart his heart, an incident that inspired the song Kickstart My Heart from the band's 5th album. But before that, there was album number 4. The album Girls, Girls, Girls was released in 1987 and debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200. Moving on from the trappings of glam metal for this album, the band reinvented themselves with a biker look. While the album did well, struggles with substance use continued to plague their creative process. Band managers Doug Taller and Doc McGee made the decision in 1989 to stop the band from embarking on a tour of Europe. They worried that some of the members wouldn't come back. In an effort to save their lives and their careers, the band entered rehab together, which turned out to be exactly what the doctor ordered. Released on September 1st, 1989, album number 5, Dr. Feelgood, hit number 1 in October and stayed on the charts for 114 weeks. After cleaning themselves up, the band had created their most musically solid album. For the first time, they recorded their parts separately, apparently to deter any infighting that might occur. Through 1990 and 91, Dr. Feelgood revitalised Mötley Crüe's popularity and solidified their status as hard rock royalty. Both singles and the album as a whole garnered nominations for numerous awards that year, and the album won the Hard Rock/Metal Award at the American Music Awards. Replacing a lead singer is a difficult proposition for any band, let alone one of the most successful hard rock groups in the world. Reports vary over Vince Neil's departure, with Neil claiming he was fired, while Nikki Sixx claims he quit. The band considered a few contenders for their new lead singer, before settling on John Corabi, formerly of Angora and The Scream. Mötley Crüe released a self-titled album in 1994 with the new frontman, but it flopped. Corabi himself even suggested bringing Vince Neil back, as his distinctive voice would always be associated with the band. In '97, Vince Neil returned, and the band recorded Generation Swine, which debuted at number 4. Despite this promising start, the album didn't get much promotion and was a financial failure. With their contract with Elektra Records expiring, and as a result of the poor support they'd received for the last album, Mötley Crüe decided to break ties with their longtime label. Thanks to some keen foresight, the band retained all the publishing rights to their music, as well as the master recordings of each album. In 1999, during a rare moment when the band wasn't touring or recording, Tommy Lee announced his intention to leave. Both creative differences and tensions with Vince Neil were part of the drummer's reasons for the sudden departure. But that didn't mean he wanted to stop playing music. Lee formed the band Methods of Mayhem and also toured as a solo performer during this time. This left the band with some rhythm problems. Mötley Crüe attempted to replace Tommy Lee with their friend Randy Castillo, formerly of Ozzy Osbourne's band. Castillo unfortunately became sick and died while recovering from surgery. The stunned and heartbroken band decided it was time to call a hiatus. For exclusive perks like early access to new videos, priority replies to your comments, and to have your say on future content, consider becoming a Factinate member. On top of that, your support helps keep the channel going. Click the link in the description for more details. The band's break came to an end in 2004 when all 4 members reunited and announced plans for a tour. It was quickly back to old times. A New Year's Eve appearance on The Tonight Show and Vince Neil shouting an obscenity resulted in the band being banned by NBC. Mötley Crüe spent much of 2005 and 6 touring the world. In early 2005 they released the compilation Red, White and Crüe, which included the first new songs from the band in over 5 years. The 2006 Root of All Evil tour was co-headlined with rock superstars Aerosmith. and all the while, bassist Nikki Sixx had another project in the works. His book hit shelves in 2007 and told the story of Nikki Sixx's struggles. The book extensively covered the Girls, Girls, Girls world tour and the fallout from his first nearly fatal experience. In 2008 and 2009, the band headlined their very own Crüe Fest music festival. It was a way of showcasing both the band's new and old music, as well as providing a venue for rock acts from around the world. Among the bands who supported them at the shows were Papa Roach, Theory of a Deadman, and Godsmack. Over the next few years, the band toured extensively, but they weren't getting any younger, and touring takes a toll. In 2012, Mötley Crüe followed the likes of Celine Dion and Britney Spears and engaged in a residency at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. Between the residencies, they continued to tour, but a big announcement was coming in 2014. At a press conference in Hollywood, Mötley Crüe announced their retirement from touring. The band planned on going out with a bang, with their North American farewell tour including 70 dates around the continent. Through 2014 and 15, they played all over the world, giving fans one last chance to experience the energy and excitement of a Mötley Crüe show. And they rang in 2016 with a very special performance. On December 31st, 2015, Mötley Crüe played their last show. The concert, held at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, was filmed. The band planned to release the concert film under the title Mötley Crüe: The End. But was it the end? While it seemed the band was done, 2017 saw the surprise announcement of new music. While they had indeed decided to stop touring, various members of the band noted that they still wanted to make music together, even if they weren't going to play it live. In 2019, Netflix released a Mötley Crüe biopic based on their autobiography, The Dirt. The soundtrack album included 3 new songs, a cover of Madonna's Like a Virgin, and 14 previously unreleased tracks from the band's catalogue. And for the first time in over a decade, Mötley Crüe had an album on the Billboard Top 10. Success, it seemed, just couldn't leave the band alone. As with any good farewell tour, Mötley Crüe's final tour in 2015 didn't end up being their last. In 2022, the band hit the road with fellow hard rock royalty Def Leppard for the stadium tour. And for one member at least, this would be the last tour. Lead guitarist Mick Mars had been wrestling with health issues for many years, and nearly 40 years after joining the band, he announced in 2022 that he would be retiring from touring. He was replaced by John Five, formerly of Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie's bands. Initially contracted as a touring guitarist, he later became a permanent member of the band. October 2024 saw the release of Cancelled, Mötley Crüe's first new music with John Five. The EP featured 2 new songs and a cover of the Beastie Boys' Fight for Your Right. Given their struggles with drugs in their early career, it's incredible that the band, mostly intact, are still making music over 40 years after first joining forces. They've received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and consistently rank in lists of all-time greatest metal bands. Mötley Crüe partied harder than anyone, especially in their early days, but you can't live that lifestyle without tasting its dark side. In 1984, lead singer Vince Neil found himself in very hot water after an alcohol-fueled car ride ended in a crash and a passenger who didn't survive. Neil received a DUI charge and a vehicular manslaughter charge and spent a couple of weeks locked up as a result. But that didn't deter the band from making music, nor did it deter Neil from getting more DUIs. All the members of the band found their own ways to get into trouble. One night at a club, Nikki Sixx reportedly got into a fight with a group of bikers, but he didn't realise they weren't what they seemed. It turns out that the bikers were really undercover police officers. They gave Sixx a beating, then he spent the night locked up. But on the bright side, the experience inspired him to write the song Knock 'Em Dead Kid. If you enjoyed this Factinate video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more incredible stories. If you want a say in who we cover next, Join our membership program through the link in the description for exclusive perks. Your support means everything to us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.